from New York. No, we are in Laguna Woods, and it's the Laguna Woods Show with your host and moderator, Esther Grossfield. Here's Esther.
Hi, welcome to Laguna Woods Show, where every guest matters. Today we have a very special guest. He's a World War II veteran, and he fought side by side with Jimmy Stewart, the movie star. And his name is Roberto Ruiz. Hi, Roberto.
Hi.
Thank you for coming. I want to thank you for the service.
Thank you.
First, I want to thank you for the service. So let's start with, what did you do in the war? What rank?
Where it all started?
No, what did you do in the war? You were in the Air Force?
I understand.
Yeah.
I was assigned to the 2nd Air Division in England.
Yeah.
There were 3 divisions in England. 2, 1st and 3rd were the B-17s, which is on that picture over there.
This one?
Picture, that's right.
Yeah.
That's my plane. That's my plane, and that's the B-17. There were 2 divisions of B-17s and 1 division of B-24s. I was a pilot on a B-24. I trained here in the States. It took me 12 months to get my wings and be eligible to fly that plane. And I had a 9-man crew, and my crew is over there.
The crew.
There's my crew. Yeah, that's a plane. I flew that a couple of times. I flew 35 missions. Practically every city in Germany we bombed. We were bombing the factories, the oil refineries, anything to do with the war effort that the Germans had. And what we did, we busted. We destroyed all their, little by little, we destroyed all their war-making equipment, things. That's what we did. Those missions used to take 10 to 12 hours. To go through the mission, they'd wake you up at 3 in the morning. Then you go into breakfast, and from breakfast you'd go to briefing. Briefing is where they tell you where you're going. They got up on the boards there, they have the map of Europe, of Germany, and they point out where you're going. They tell you how you want to get there, and the further end, for example, Berlin took about 12 hours because it's on the east side of Germany. And so after they tell us where we're going, how dangerous it is, how many guns, and what to expect. They tell us what to expect. They always tell us that. A lot of guns or a few. They also tell us about the fighters. Are we going to encounter fighters? And about where, and et cetera. They pretty well know where they're going to meet us, where they're going to jump on us. And so that takes care of where we're going. Now the weatherman comes in and tells us what the weather's going to be like. And whether it's cloudy, clear, if they're going to be able to see us, which we didn't like. We didn't want them to see us. We want to bomb through clouds, because if it's clear, they can see us, and it becomes a little more not too healthy. And after he finishes, and then we go change our clothes into flight clothes, into our flight. Put on our parachute, our Mae West. Mae West is in case we have to ditch in the water. And then when we're just about ready to go, the priest comes around, Catholic priest, telling all you fish eaters we're having communion at the end of the hall. So all Catholics go and have communion at the end of the hall. So after that, we get on trucks and we go to our plane that's been assigned to us. So that's where I meet the crew. They come from a different briefing.
Yes.
And we get on the plane there, and then we look for a flare, a green flare or a blue flare, depends what they tell us, to start your engines. So just picture about 400 planes in this group starting their engines. And then then they give us another light to start taxiing out to the runway to take off. And we do that. And you're a bunch of planes just lined up. And as you turn into the driveway, I mean not the driveway, the flight way.
Yeah, the flight way.
Then you wait there for a signal over here for another light to start to take off. And as we call pour the coals, give it the gas to start going, the priest is giving the sign of the cross to every plane. So you know you're not going to, it can be sad, it can be bad. So anyway, we take off, and it takes about 3 or 4 hours for our group to form with other groups overhead there. And after about that time, then we head east to Germany. And you don't go directly to the target because you have to avoid the cities that have guns. So we don't go over cities or any place where they know there's ACAC, that's what we call. And so we get to the target around 11 o'clock. And if you're at the head of the group, which I was at the end of my tour, towards the end, but beginning, they put you way in the back. So you're way in the back and you're looking way ahead. You know where the target is right away because all you see is smoke, puffs of smoke, the ACAC. And you see planes going down. And you know you got to go there. And it makes it worse, they want a good bomb pattern downstairs, down here where we're bombing. You want the planes real close. So I mean, we're real close. And which is bad for us because it makes a better target for the Germans. And you go in and you drop your bombs, and from there you go either right or left, depends what they tell you, and because what the flak does, it separates you, because the concussion of the guns, it just moves your plane whether you want to or not. It moves you out of the way. And the planes are bouncing from the ACAC. You're not running steady. So there we got to gather after the target. We got to gather to have better protection against the fighters that come in after you drop your bombs. And we have better protection if we're close, because on a plane, you got 2, 4, 6, 7 machine guns available, and then it's 7, and you got 12 planes, so that's quite a few machine guns shooting at the enemy. So that helps. It helps, but it doesn't prevent it from getting hit. So some planes get hit and go down. I was very fortunate. I got hit, but it didn't affect I still have my engines going. So that's practically all the time, but on one occasion, they got one engine, and I had a cut, and then I had 3. But I couldn't stay with the formation. I had to leave it because I couldn't keep up with the rest. And so I left it, and that's bad because you're alone down there. But what I did was select clouds. Fortunately, there were clouds down below. So I got in the clouds so they can't see me. And the navigator told me which direction to go on the compass. And so that's what I did. And they hadn't told us that in France, when right there at on the coastline, there was a town called Dunkirk. And when the Germans were there, and when they got out, they left Germans in that pocket. Germans with guns and everything. So here we come but by that time we were about 2,000 feet off the ground. And here comes a shell, I'm getting shells. You see them popping here and popping there, and I'm telling the navigator, what's going on here? We're over France, they shouldn't be shooting at us. Give them lower the wheels. I told the bombardier to lower the wheels. Lowering wheels means that you're friendly. You're friendly.
Yeah.
That didn't help. And then it's a flare. Then they shoot a flare. We're friendly. They kept shooting. So then I said, by that time, let's get out of here. So I poured it out, and I could see England. Then I tell the guys, my boys there, look for an airfield to land this thing, because we couldn't get back to our base. We had to land in another base. And when I got to England, I lost the other engine. Fortunately, they were on the other side, not the same side. If you lose two on one engine, one side,
like that.
That's it. So we landed okay. I landed it, and I got.
Tell us the time.
When I think of it, I got the biggest hugs from the guys.
Because you saved them.
Saving them. So after that, we had dinner there, and they drove us back to our base. But that's what a mission consists of. There's some others. There's one, my first mission, for example, they hit the plane next to me, blew up. Now picture a B-24 with 10 guys, 10 men in there, blowing up on your first mission. I had never experienced anything like that. And I'm saying to myself, what did I get into? So the next day they signed me up again to go again, but they do that because they don't want you to rest and think about it. They want you to go up right away. So the next day, it was calm. It was nice. So we call them, when they don't shoot, when the flak isn't heavy, then we call it a milk run. And fighters were very few. So it was easy, the second one. So all during the 35 missions, some were rough and some weren't. And I bombed practically every city in Germany. The Rhine River had some bad ones there. Towards the end there, I was lucky, and I was flying at the very front because I already had about 25, 30 missions. And two of those missions I flew next to Jimmy Stewart, the actor.
Yes.
Yeah. And but that time we went to Berlin, and it was bad. And I thought sure he was going to get hit. That flak was right around him, and it was getting close to me, but not as bad as it was to him. So, but we got back, and I asked he was a colonel. So I was saying, Colonel, it was kind of rough out there, wasn't it? And he looked down on me, he smiled, and says, it sure heck was. So I talk about Stewart all the time because he was a nice guy, real nice fellow. He was a colonel. So what else?
He used to come back and talk about the mission afterwards.
After we got back, then they have debriefing.
Yeah.
Where the whole crew gets on a table, big table, and you have a debriefing officer that asks you questions. I don't see much. When you're flying, you don't see much. If you're not flying, you can see. You're looking around. But the gunners ask them. The gunners will tell them what they saw and all that sort of stuff. Jimmy Stewart used to sit in those briefings and ask questions too. So, yeah, that was after the mission. And then from there we go have dinner, and then we go to our room. So at least we have a good dinner, and we slept in a bed. That's better than the poor GI on the field out there in the mud, sleeping on the ground. They had it rough. I had it rough for 10, 12 hours, but it was rough for them 24/7, all the time while they were out there. So I'm very fortunate to get
One
back.
time you told me that two planes left late. They went late. What
That
happened?
was a mission in France.
Yeah.
The 17s were supposed to be at Bordeaux, France. They were supposed to be there before us at a higher altitude. Well, they were at a higher altitude, but they got out late. They were late getting out, and we were early coming in. So we were flying in elements of three ships, three, instead of the whole squadron. And the group right in front of me, I was flying second. And two of those ships I saw go down.
Beside
I saw,
you.
they got hit, and one exploded. The other one peeled off. I saw a little bit of him when he went down. Because they were late and we were early, and they dropped bombs on us. Well, the plane that went off that I lost track of, we had a reunion in Chicago, I think, or England, in England. And the navigator on that plane I met at that reunion. He said they all were saved. But it surprised me when he told me that he was on that plane. Yeah.
But the other one did not survive.
The other plane didn't. No.
So each time you went out, you had an 8,000 pound of bomb.
The 24s, we carried 24,000 pounds, 8,000 pounds of bombs on the 24s. And the guns weighed 5,000 pounds. So a lot of weight. The 17s only carried 5,000 pounds of bombs. So there was a lot of, these bombs, they can be 8,000, they can be 4 bombs that are 2,000 apiece, but they can be 8 bombs at less per piece.
But altogether 8,000.
Huh?
Altogether was 8,000.
Together was 8,000 pounds. And that when they leave the ship and you're flying it, that plane wants to go up. So you got to hold that wheel down to keep the plane
because it was
level.
heavy.
Yeah, because all that weight's gone. Yeah. When that time that I lost those engines, we had dropped our bombs, but we had to drop all our machine guns too. That's another reason. We had it because it was 5,000 pounds, so we threw those overboard. Luckily, it was cloudy because we wouldn't been able to defend ourselves without guns.
Yeah.
So we lucked out again.
Why did you have to drop the guns too?
Because they weighed 5,000 pounds. We got to lighten the ship.
Because
so it'll stay up there longer.
Oh.
Yeah, we had to lighten it up. So, so they got us to England. And I tell you, we just made it back to England. We just made it back. And fortunately, there was an runway there. Fortunately, right there I spotted it, or the gunner spotted it, and I landed it. But we're just lucky. All luck.
Yeah, it's all luck. So, going back to your childhood a little bit. Going back to your childhood.
Childhood?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where did your parents came from?
Oh, well, my dad came from Mazatlan, Mexico. That's on the coast right above Acapulco. It's tourist today.
Yes,
It's been tourist for
there.
years. My mother came from Parral, Chihuahua, which is south of Texas. That's where she came from. My dad came here, crossed the border in 1900. He was 15 years old. And by himself. He never knew his dad. He never knew his dad, and his mother died when he was born. So he came alone, and he worked odd jobs here in San Diego. That's where we crossed, in Tijuana. Odd jobs, and in I'm not exactly when he met my mother, but he was working in Mexicali, back at that time across the border, selling, he was selling goods in a truck. I don't know for who or what. And my mother came out to buy. Excuse me. And that's how they met. The exact year I don't know, but I know they married in 1915. And the first son was born my brother was he was born 1921.
And you were born?
22.
1922.
A year later. And 3 gals followed, 3 sisters followed.
Then at one point, your father hired one guy to build a whole house. One guy built a house with 2 bedrooms and 1 bath.
Right.
This is amazing. And it's still standing. It's still standing.
There. Exactly.
When was the last time you saw the house?
Saw the house?
No. When was the last time you saw it?
Oh,
like a year or 2 ago, you told me. You saw it. You saw the house. You saw it.
Oh, yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, like a year or 2. So people live there.
I saw it December. Last year in December. Oh, yeah, it's recent.
And it was right near the beach, huh?
We were a mile from the beach. The nursery was there.
Yeah.
And the house. The house still looks the same. The driveway that my brother and I put in, it's still there. Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
That's really amazing.
Every time I go there, I want to go knock on the door and go see what they changed. But can you imagine this one fellow, I don't know how long it took him to make the house, but he worked on it day in all the time. I don't know how long it took. But he didn't have the foresight or something to put 2 bedrooms and 2 baths.
More than 2 bedrooms because you were 5 kids.
Yeah, that's right. You should have at least 3.
Yes.
3 sisters and 2 brothers.
Yes, yes.
But we went into service when I graduated from high school in 1941 out of La Jolla.
Yeah.
And I went into service early next year, in 42.
What made you go to the Air Force? Why did you decide to go to the Air Force?
Very good question. I saw a movie when I was a teenager of World War I.
Yeah.
This movie was All Quiet on the Western Front, and it was all infantry.
Yeah.
And they showed them in the mud, they showed them sleeping and fighting in the mud and all that. So it was that time that if I ever have to go in the service, I will never join it won't be in the infantry. So my friend that I got to know in high school, his dad was in the Navy.
Yeah.
So he went in the Navy, so I said, I'll try the Navy. So, but I'm lucky I went to the Army, Air Force.
And you had to go through all kinds of phases? You had to go through phases?
Like I said, to get your wings, it took a year and 2 months, because you start here, the first month, nothing but walking, marching. And then we had to wait before we went to the San Andreas, the pre-flight. That's where, if you pass all your tests, you either become a pilot, navigator, or bombardier. And I'll tell you one thing, for those year and a half, 2 months, school and working out.
So you had an instructor for 7 hours, and then you had to fly by yourself.
Oh, okay. Once you're selected, either pilot, navigator, or bombardier, and then you go to your first base, which is primary. In this case, it was in Santa Maria, here in California. And they give you 7 hours. You go up with an instructor, and you have 7 hours to be able to fly that plane by yourself. And if you don't, then they give you you have to go with a check pilot. And if you fail that, you're
And
out.
some people didn't make it. Some
That's
people
right.
got killed because they were
Oh,
colliding.
that story I told, there were these two kids.
Yeah,
They were mischievous.
yes,
They were always messing around.
yeah,
And here they got the fly. They soloed, and they're coming in. When you go to land, you have a pattern on the field. You got to go downwind, cross leg, and final approach. On the down, you can be all over here, and you're coming in, and you got to downwind. These two fellows were right in front of me, and they were teasing each other. A little primary single-engine plane. Well, they collided. Right there, and I'm looking at it, and this one plane went straight down. The other one went off. This guy was killed, and the other guy was washed out. Yeah, they washed out.
So now you go and make speeches. You go to schools.
Today,
Yeah, you go to schools.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I belong to three groups today.
Yeah,
One, in the first place, I'm a docent at the Lions Air Museum,
Yeah.
which is a John Wayne Airport.
Yeah.
And we have planes there from World War II.
yeah,
And they bring busload of kids there,
yeah,
middle schools and high schools.
yeah,
And we talk to them.
yes,
And from there, and then I belong to the Freedom Committee, which is a group comprised of World War II, Korea, and Vietnam veterans out of Costa Mesa. We meet there the second Wednesday of the month. And what we do there, they send us to high school to speak to high
Yeah.
school kids.
So going back to Jimmy Stewart,
Yeah.
when was the last time you saw him?
Jimmy Stewart, the last time I saw him was in Palm Springs in 1984.
Did he recognize you?
Let me tell you a story. That was a reunion there in Palm Springs. So I was talking to a group before, about a year before, or 6 months, and I told them about Jimmy Stewart, and the last time I saw him. So after I finished speaking, she came up to me and asked me, when you saw Stewart, did he remember you down in Palm Springs? You know what my answer was? Being the only Hispanic pilot in the 389th Bomber Group, yes, he remembered me. That's what I told him.
Well, you know, we're running out of time. Time already, it's over. We ran out of time.
Oh,
Thank you for coming.
oh.
Thank you for your
Well,
service.
very nice having me here. I love to talk about all this.
Well,
And I'll keep talking until I'm
thank you for watching, and next time we'll have another interesting person. Thank you. Bye.